Welcome back everybody to a new video. In this one we're going to be talking about some currency strategies early on and kind of getting some of your initial money moving forward into the league and such in those first couple days. In terms of this video, it'll probably be a decently long one, so if you just want to grab the Atlas trees, that'll be posted in the description. That's totally cool. You can look over them, change them. Again, with Atlas trees, they're always pretty flexible. It's really just spec into what you want, do what you want, but just wanted to offer some insight into some different mechanics and maybe combos that you might want to do. And that's about it, so we're just going to kind of jump right into it. So one big thing you'll hear people talk about early is getting a lot of these progression nodes through your Atlas. Progression nodes meaning things like additional map drop chance, right? Like going up through one of these avenues off to the sides, right? Or trying to get to these up here, trying to get your shaping stuff coming up here, and that's all really, really nice. The only thing with this though is that like you may not want to necessarily progress that fast. You may want to be sitting in lower tier maps doing some easier content, especially like if you're a newer player and such, because you're probably not going to be bum rushing immediately to like T16s. And although it's a really powerful thing to do, it definitely has its drawbacks because of the fact that like your character will most likely be undergeared in some way or another, or the content you're going to be pushing is really, really rippy, especially if you're comboing it with other mechanics, right? Not just the maps themselves. Like if you're just trying to blow out like a T16 like expedition or something like that a couple days in the league, it's definitely going to be pretty rippy, right? If you're an advanced player, then obviously you can try to mitigate that and work around that. I understand that, but this is just, you know, exceptions to everything. This is just kind of some general thoughts and stuff. So some stuff you can do early, which is really nice, and I've done this before in multiple leagues, is you start early in the white maps and such, and you get essence going. That's a really, really nice thing to do. It's not on the map device this league. However, you can still get it through the 7th gate. Something to keep in mind, because especially if essences start rising in price quite a bit, you can just allocate the gates, and then you can get 7th gate here and just start spawning a lot more of them every map, even though this one's already guaranteed, but just something to think about. The essence nodes are really, really nice, just grabbing these for more efficiency. However, it will make them harder, hence why in the higher tier maps they can be quite rippy, but lower tier maps are really, really nice because you can just blow through them super quick, which is absolutely fantastic. If you're really stuck for money, as in like you're just having trouble mapping at all, run a couple of contracts or heists, you can get a couple chaos out of those. Really, really powerful for just getting some life res gear early on, which is quite nice. Just an option. Strongbox is really nice as well. If you're looking for scarabs, you can go like strongbox into, where are my strongbox nodes at? Over here, you can go like corrupted and be like operative strongbox, so it rolls it for you, which is really nice because you're probably going to be short on things like alchemies and ball orbs early, so making things rare is kind of hard to do. But this node kind of alleviates that, and then you can go into scarabs, which can allow you to force mechanics, or you can just sell them in bulk, whatever you drop. Another thing to look for as well is maybe going into something early like a blight setup. This is really, really nice because of the fact that the content produces a lot of blighted maps, and they're generally always in demand. So generally going for blight, if you're going in here, the only thing to look out for is for this immune response. It's definitely very, very good if you can run this because things spawn a lot faster, right? They're spawning basically twice as quick, so you're able to get through blights faster. However, it can be really, really nasty, right? If you're going to get overwhelmed by, well, mobs, quite frankly, just because it spawns so many. If you have some kind of source of explosion early on, then this generally is fine because you just blow up everything anyways. Basically, it's an occultist only thing, but they're special, so, you know, they get awesome explosions. Anyways, moving on to the blight stuff though, getting this stuff over to the side is really, really nice just because you can reduce the cost of blight. Oils are always in demand. It's something that never runs out. Additionally as well, you can get different bases as well. It's kind of similar to like the rogue exile farm that some people do early, because of the fact that it drops a lot of rare items from chests, even like armor pieces, which you can just ID with the wisdom scrolls and sell off, right? You can generally actually get some pretty decent items as well as like influence items. There's a lot of neat stuff there that you can get, which is really cool. If you are doing this though and you get this here, just be careful of the blight map crafting option, because to be honest, I'm not sure how much this costs with the 50% reduce, but just keep an eye on that compared to scarabs, because scarabs might be cheaper. So just a thing to look out for. In terms of other stuff as well for progression, some people like doing a really, really fast, this is kind of going back to the fast map thing, come up here, somewhere around here, and you get to Wandering Path. You do a lot of map stuff here, and you just sell off the maps. I've done that as well. These are increased effect, but the idea is you'd want to go into just maps themselves, so actually you wouldn't need this. But the idea is that you build up a really, really big map collection, and then you can sell those in bulk just because people are looking for specific maps to complete their atlas, or just in general run a specific kind of map over and over and over again if they really like a layout. That's a really nice thing to do without specking into any league mechanics. Nice thing about that is that it leaves you really open, so in the case that you're unsure of what you want to do, this is kind of a general thing you can kind of set up and do, which is really nice. Sometimes as well with Wandering Path, people will power harvest. You're not able to get the big nodes, but you can get a really, really high chance to actually contain the Sacred Grove, and you do get a lot of quant modifiers to your stuff. So this actually ends up being pretty solid, even though you're not necessarily getting, like, I believe it's an additional plot. Yeah, additional harvest, as well with the experience, spawning additional monsters, things like that. It's just something additional you can do. If you have a build with a lot of clear in it, or some kind of proliferation built in, it's really, really nice to go things like Legion, just because of the fact that you can reach all the monsters, which is really, really nice. Things like Protracted Battle are really, really nice early, and I recommend taking it just because of the fact they take so much more increased damage. Keep in mind with this number, it's not you doing 50% increased damage, which might equate to like 5% more damage. It's the monsters are taking 50% increased damage. So if you don't have any sources, which most likely you won't early, this is a huge more multiplier actually to your damage. And you're getting extra time to break everything out, which is just resulting in more loot, which is really, really fantastic. So definitely would recommend that. Obviously, you can pair this with other nodes and such as well. You can choose like which ones, you know, you want to spawn, right? Like in terms of the splinters, choosing stuff up here for additional war hordes, all that stuff, you know, generals if you want as well. The generals can be pretty rippy early, so just something to be kind of aware of there. And then over here as well, this is just the additional, you know, loot stuff. So just something to keep in mind. And this could, again, this is even like a lower tier map stuff. The only really high tier map stuff, again, is if you're going, obviously, if you're going like altars, right? Then you can go like altars into here because then you actually have access to them, T14 and plus. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about altar stuff at all. And then, you know, obviously plan whatever you want to do in conjunction with that. So it could be like an altar setup plus, you know, getting maps up here for like Shaper or Synthesis early. It could be going into like Delirium scaling and whatever you want there. But if you're pushing those really, really hard, then you do your own thing. All good. That's generally the overall thing to the Atlas. The big thing though is just speccing into something and going all the way with it is my big thing. So again, if you're going to do Essence, then select as many Essence nodes as you can. If you're doing Blight, select as many Blight nodes as you can, etc. As much as respecking is a cost, it's really not that bad generally, especially because you'll be making a decent amount of money and dropping Orbs of Unmaking Regrets. And on top of that as well, you're going to get some refund points throughout your progression in the Atlas anyways. So with all this in mind, you might be wondering what strategy I'm going to be doing on League Start. And for one, I will have a League Starter video coming out tomorrow, but it's not going to be a build I am playing. However, I can heavily vouch for it as I played it twice. Also, as one of them, I've done like an SSF run as well. Not speedrunning though, but I'll go over that tomorrow. But in terms of Atlas though, I have a little bit better idea what I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be keeping it pretty open. So I'll probably be pathing somewhere up here, either one of the sides, doesn't really matter. Going for some kind of map drop chance here, just because it's very general. Coming over here and probably going for Stream of Consciousness. This is going to allow me to get a lot more League mechanics in my maps, trying to kind of figure out what I'm going to do. Especially because I'm not even sure of what I'm necessarily League starting yet, but I'm kind of narrowing it down. Coming up here, I might go for a Wandering Path setup, but the only thing with that though, is if I do go for that, it's going to potentially lock out maybe some major nodes that I might want to go for. So as much as I want to do that, we'll see about it. I might end up picking like one Shaping the Mountains here, just because of the fact I can get a free use of random map crafting option, which is really, really nice. Or path over here trying to get a special one, although I think I'll probably skip on the special till later, as even though it's really, really nice to bank them up over time over the course of a league, I'm not exactly sure what I'd want to do with them just yet, so I'm going to leave that be. Coming up here though, I'll probably come through the middle, just getting some more quant of items. You can also path around the side here, just trying to get some more maps. I'm generally avoiding this though, just because then I have to go into increased effective map modifiers, which is going to make maps harder, but more rewarding, but I'd rather not make them harder just off the bat. I prefer to take things a little bit more relaxed at the start of a league. Coming up through here, if I go into high tier maps, right, if I want to, then I can go for the additional map, like boss drop nodes here, which is really, really nice. Maybe you can go for a destructive play setup, but we'll have to see though. Most likely what'll happen is I'll probably stop around this point, even if I get to here, and I should have a pretty decent of idea what I want to do. It kind of looks a little bit grief just because of the fact that I haven't spec'd into anything really much, but honestly it ends up being pretty okay, because early league, many people don't have really money anyways, and even just the maps alone will sell and just kind of get my build going, as I'm only looking for cheap gear anyways to continue mapping. At this point, if I'm choosing to go for something really, really simple, I might go for something like Essence into Strongbox. That might feel pretty good, just trying to get some Scarabs and such, along with just some Essences, which is nice for if you want to craft your own gear, or just, again, sell them off in bulk. That's generally the idea. If I'm feeling really, really ambitious, I might go for like a Wandering Path, maybe, or just go into like Shaping the World and Shaping the Skies over here, maybe do a bit of Harvest or Expedition, but we'll have to see how that plays out. as I'm really not sure yet, and then basically fill it out probably with some boss nodes. But again, that's if I'm feeling really up to it, which probably won't happen for, well, basically let's just say not early league. So we'll see where it goes from there, but that's generally what I'm going for. So those are my overall thoughts on the Atlas and such. Hopefully you found this video useful and such. And tomorrow will be a very exciting day because League Star is coming out. And even if you don't play it, I think it'll definitely be something to look into as a potential build for another league, especially if it gets different changes in the future. Thanks for watching. Bye.